Hello.
And hello, everybody.
How's everyone doing? Howard, how are you this morning?
I am good and I am here. That's great. We're ready to do a live stream. Let's introduce ourselves. Megan, who are you?
I'm Megan. I'm a product manager here at Vicasso. And Howard, who are you?
I'm Howard Yermish. I'm the director of product here at Vicasso, and we are getting ready to do this live stream. In fact, what is this live stream that we are doing today?
Yeah, so we're really excited to talk about the scope creeper. So happy Halloween week. We're going to talk about how you can use case split to break the curse of never ending cases. So before we get started, Howard, of course, got to start off with our forward looking
We
statement.
do. It would not be a live stream unless we did our forward-looking statements, because please don't purchase anything that isn't currently available. We're going to be looking at some pre-release functionality today. However, we still think it is close enough for government work and for our work. We're really excited about what we're going to talk about today with case split. So Megan, let us go over the agenda.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to talk about what is scope creep, how scope creep is affecting our service teams, and how we can use case split to fight back against that scope creeper. And then we'll get in some common scenarios, hop into a demo org, and show you how to split your cases.
All right. Well, with that, what's scope creep? For
Yeah,
those who don't know.
absolutely. So, setting the stage from the project management world, scope creep describes the ever expanding requirements that lead to projects exceeding budget or missing critical deadlines. So, imagine that you have a project, it has a set budget, set resources, but over time, that budget might expand, you might need more resources, and that timeline stretches out a bit. So, when we think about this in the service world, scope creep is referring to a case that's expanded beyond that first issue. So, if you've ever worked with a really good support agent, you might have your issue resolved and then keep asking them, like, oh, I just have one more question. I just have one more thing to ask. And then that's causing one issue that the case was originally about to inflate and creep up in that scope. So, all of this creeping into cases can really affect businesses as a whole. So, let's zoom into the impact on service teams. So, Howard, what are some ways that scope creep is really affecting service?
At its core, it's about the data. And bad data affects lots of different ways. If that case stays open too long because you're trying to handle multiple customer issues, it's going to really impact your overall metrics. And it's going to look like there's a lot more work to be done when it really might have been 2 or 3 cases worth of work. The second thing is, if you're doing knowledge-centered service, the metrics in knowledge-centered service get all messed up, because now you might be attaching 2 and 3 and 4 useful articles because there's multiple issues inside of that same case. And if you're ever going to train AI on your data, now instead of having really clean case data, you've got lots of stuff inside of the same thing that might affect any models that you build. The second big area is what it does to the support agent. When I think about how does a support agent deliver great service, what you want to try to do is make it so that it's really easy for them to do their work. So if they're trying to juggle multiple support requests with different stuff all inside of the same case, it's going to be hard to know where that case is. Are all of the issues resolved? Is one of them resolved and now you're waiting on something? It's a lot to manage. It's also going to make it look like they have less work. So if you're thinking, hey, our agents in general can handle a certain number of cases per day, and they've got multiple issues inside of the same case, it's going to look like they're not doing as much work, even though arguably they're doing extra work. The last place this affects is it affects your customers. If you're a customer and you're like, I just want to ask them one more question, you think you're doing yourself a favor. But realistically, what's going to happen is your customers are going to find themselves not getting certain parts of their requests resolved. They might be left waiting because they asked 3 different questions, 2 of them got answered, but now there's really no clear action to resolve the third issue, or maybe it's because it's for a different team. I know customers don't want to open up another case for a separate issue, but at the same time, those issues are best resolved by the right teams. So let's kind of, figure out what we're going to do this with case split.
Yeah. So one way to really combat this is to ensure that your service teams understand and practice one issue per case. So that's enabling service agents to build out good habits around this, and that can ensure those clean case metrics that we talked about. So case metrics won't be inflated as cases stay open forever, and agents might have to touch multiple teams to close that case. Case split lets you split the case, it's in the title, to keep cases organized, have clean threads, and allow service agents to easily see the information to that specific case. So when you think about messages, emails, tasks, those are all living with the right case and not in multiple different places. And then lastly, it takes that work off the customer to do it themselves. So you could go on your search engine, look up one issue per case right now and see help articles from companies suggesting that customers put up multiple support issues or put up multiple support cases. And that really puts that burden to the customer to do it themselves. Or maybe they've submitted a case with multiple issues and that support agent might be instructed to say, hey, sorry, that's not my team. I'm going to have you submit another case. And that's really hindering that customer experience, putting that burden on the customer. So we want to talk through a couple of common scenarios that we see where service agents might want to split into a case.
Got it. So the first scenario, this is the very common one. You worked with customer support. Maybe you had a problem, in this case, with like a broken keyboard. They helped you. Everything is great. And you're like, oh, but I have one more question because I am also getting another error over here. So it's a second issue when the first one has already been resolved. And that might sound familiar to many of you. So Megan, let's look at it in terms of how it looks in practice.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we hop into my org, we'll see that I'm the service agent and I've been working with my contact Thais about a broken keyboard. So I've had a really good back and forth. I'm resolving the issue. And then Thais reaches out and says, hey, I'm actually getting an error message on my screen. So a completely unrelated issue to what we just resolved. So what I want to do here is click the split button. And I'm going to be brought to the split page. Now, I want to separate that error message into its own new case. And so what I can do here is I can look on the right-hand side. I see it's a new case for Thais. I'm going to keep all of that information the same. And then I want to give it a new subject that relates to this case. One thing I just want to point out here too is that I can make edits to the original case. So if I've already resolved that issue, maybe I want to move that to a closed status. I can do that and edit the existing case as well. So on my new case, I've got the information I need. I want to bring over the relevant pieces of information. And this is what makes case split so special, is that you can pull over the emails and all of the related records that are going to pertain just to that new case. So I'm going to pull over that latest email and that case comment. If I forget, hey, what case comment was it? I can hover over and see that full message. I'm going to copy that over as well. And then a great quality of life feature that we added is also pulling over those related files. So you can see here, it automatically pulled over the file that I need for this new case. If I need a refresher, I can just click into it, get that preview, and then split into the new case. So that's going to split and then bring me to my newly created case.
And I think what makes this so great is you were able, as a support agent, split this up into a second case, but also resolve the existing case. Mm-hmm. So now when you reach out to the customer on this new case, maybe you use the email to case premium new comment page, you're able to say to that customer, I closed the other case and I've separated this off. Mm-hmm. You could also reassign that to a queue. You could reassign it to another person, whatever is the right person to get it. Just issue number one resolved, close that loop, issue number two opened, work through that loop. I think it's a really important way to do that. Now, the second scenario to really dig into here, to really understand, is sometimes a customer reaches out and they say, I have many problems. Some of them I need your help with. So for example, if they reached out that first thing and they said, I have a question about, I've got a broken mouse, but I also have a question about purchasing some things. I want to order something, or I've got some licensing questions or what have you. So we start this scenario thinking about it as a at the beginning of the interaction, we need to separate this case out in 2 or 3 or different places. So Megan, let's dive in again and let's take a look at what that looks like.
Yep. So I'm on a new case with Ann Clark from ABC Enterprise, and she's emailed in with a couple of different questions. So one is pertaining to a broken mouse. That's going to be me on support. And then another question regarding those orders of 130 computer monitors. Now, I can't help with that purchase order, but I can split off a new case and direct that to the right team who can. So same as before, I'm going to split this case out. And I see my original case details on the left and the new case. I don't want to be the owner because it's not my team. So I'm actually going to move that over to the sales team queue. I'm going to keep the contact and account the same. And maybe I do want to have a new subject, but I want to pull over the description because that description included the question that related to Ann's original request. So I'm going to pull that over. Really nice. It's going to pull over all of those values for that team to take a look at. Maybe I want to change the type here to a question. And I want to pull over all of the related information to this new case. Now it was the first email. I want to pull over all of these different parts. And again, you're going to see that file is going to be brought over. Now for this sales team, they don't need a picture of the broken mouse. I can very easily move that back to the original case and keep those threads clear like we talked about. We want the right information on the right case. So when I go to split that case, it's now going to direct to the right person and it's going to be owned by that sales team queue. They're going to get all of the relevant information they need to help Ann with her purchase order.
So it really sounds like you set this up in a way such that different teams can get what they want right from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, I know that this is, customers don't necessarily cooperate all the time. What would happen, let's just say, for instance, if, I don't know, maybe the customer replied to the wrong case? Because, hey, sometimes people will say to me, I don't want to split this up into a whole bunch of places. I don't want the customer to have to figure this out. So let's say, for example, you've split it up. You've got one for the sales team. You've got one for support. So the customer says, thank you so much. By the way, here is the document X, Y, and Z for the sales thing, but they reply to the support person with that. So what does this look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So as the support agent, I'm going to be working with Professor Plum, and we have a support thread going. So we're talking about a broken HDMI cable. And then Professor Plum sends this email in for an Angelina, and it includes a signed contract. Now, that's not for me. It doesn't make sense to the issue we're working on, but it's totally okay. We don't want to reach out to the customer and say, oh, sorry, that wasn't for me. Make sure you reply on the right email thread. Absolutely not. We want to get this information with the contract over to the right team into the right case. So what we're going to do here is we're going to split off this information into an existing case that sales already has. So what I can do here is I can split. And then instead of splitting to a new case here, I want to split to the existing case. And now I can use this search. And let's say I want to search for my contact or account, and I can see there's an existing case already for that order. So I'm going to click into that. It's going to populate with all of the correct information. So I don't need to touch any of this. This is already set for that team, but I want to pull over the related information to this case. So that last email that Professor Plum just emailed in, I'm going to copy over. Again, looking for that case comment, I can hover and copy that over. And then that file with that contract automatically is going to pull over. So now that team has what they need to close that deal. And now I'm going to split. And now we're brought to the page or the existing sales case where Angelina can help out and finish this deal.
And that's awesome. And when I'm watching you do this, and something I've noticed is I feel like the design of the case split page is a little bit different.
Yes, it is a new case split page. So we're really excited to launch the new split page. That's going to be available on the App Exchange on November 15th. So, as with everything, when you go to download this on November 15th, please test in a sandbox first. And what's really great about the new split page is that you won't have to do any additional configuration. So, when you download the new package, when you click that split button, your users are automatically going to be redirected to the right place, the right new split page. You don't need to do any additional configuration there. You'll just have it.
Awesome. And one of the things that I want to kind of, for lack of a better term, talk about is we like it when people schedule time with us. When our customers reach out to us and say, we have ideas for your products or we want to explain a particular use case. So you'll see in the chat, there's a link to schedule time. That schedules time with myself as director of product, with Megan, and with Thais, who is our other product manager. We can talk about any ideas that you have as well as really review those use cases. The other thing is, let's say, for example, you want to know exactly when is something going to come out for your product, or are there tips and tricks, or I've got some other questions. Don't put support in here, but join our Trailblazer community group. We keep that really, really low volume. So it's very much the stuff that's in there might be related to a push upgrade that's happening. It might be related to realistically things that are very, very specific about the product. We try to keep it really, really light there, but high information, but not frequent, just when you need it.
Yeah, and if you like us, our apps, and support, please write a review on the App Exchange. It's very low lift, takes a few minutes, and really means a lot to us as an ISV. And if you ever need app support, we are here for you. So as you're going through, downloading, see everything on the new case split page, we can be reached by chat, email, phone. We also have a large knowledge base for self-service. So definitely reach out.
Got it. And, last but not least, I'm going to sort of open up the floor to questions. And, while we're sort of waiting for any of those to come in, and usually there's a few stragglers of this question here and there. This is just new functionality, and I don't know exactly what would be interesting. I think one of the questions that I knew I had was, and I think you covered it, but just to reiterate, if someone's an existing case split customer and they get this new version, how much configuration do they have to do? They've got to reset everything up, right? Everything's totally new.
No, there is absolutely zero additional configuration. So really to drive that point home, if you're an existing case split customer, you're used to seeing the case split, how it looks today. When you download case split, you will get the new case split page. As soon as you hit that split button, you don't need to switch out the buttons. You don't need to do anything within setup for any new configuration. This will be here for you. This is an improvement, a facelift. We're really excited. And it's going to be very, I don't want to say low effort, but no effort. Just download the package from the App Exchange.
Got it. And, just to sort of wrap things up, I'm not seeing any questions in the chat. So we can end this stream and we can give you a few minutes back. But I just want to say thank you very much to everyone. Thank you for being customers. Thank you for joining us on this live stream. And we look forward to the next live stream. Join the Trailblazer community to make sure that you know exactly when that new version of Case Split hits the App Exchange. And thanks, everybody.
And as a Halloween treat, Howard, I just want to make sure we're sharing the link to our guide to better case management in Salesforce. There's a lot of great comments, a lot of actionable tips that we can share to improve your case management process. So definitely make sure to check that out. Start your Halloween early. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys on the next live stream.
Sounds good, everyone. Thank you very much.